What's up, gang? Carlton Flowers here, your crypto pro.
Yay!
And we have another critical point that Bitcoin has arrived at, and we're going to take a look at all the evidence on the chart and try to make an educated guess on what could happen next. I'm going to cover all the possibilities and include my opinion about the probability of each one of these moves. So let me put on the reading glasses and get rid of my handsome face, and let's just jump right in here to the chart on the 4-hour candle. So as you can see, I've got these rectangular areas here that are designated as previous resistance and support zones. Here's the lower, the middle, and the upper. When we were down here at this point, of course, when we jumped back into this middle zone, I thought we were going to bounce off and hit resistance and sail downward. But to my surprise and everybody else, we did not get the big capitulation that was supposed to take place and do this. That did not happen. We broke to the upside, and Bitcoin has not given any indication that it wants to take a break as we surged all the way up to the top resistance and support zone. Now, after we did break through the top of it, let me just indicate right here. Here's the break. I thought, oh boy, this is it. We're going to launch up and probably hit 58 from there. And when we touched on the bottom of the zone, I thought, oh, that's it. Okay, we're going to launch off here for sure. But then, surprise number two, we had this double candle where we gave it back and entered back into the zone, where I can't really say that this is a definite break of this resistance zone where it possibly could be flipping to support. And the reason is we didn't have more than one candle after each time that it broke out. Here and here, we gave it back both times, taking the next 4-hour candle down to within the zone. Here we sit at the bottom of the zone with this little doji that keeps popping back and forth from red to green. And right now on the 1 hour, the 1 hour stochastic is looking bullish, where I think it's going to come up a little bit more to the middle of the zone, maybe to the top, and test again. But on the 4-hour stochastic, we've got the double hump camel right here, and then we've fallen back into the middle ground, into the area that is neither overbought or oversold. So here we are in the neutral zone, waiting to see what is going to happen. Now, on the MACD, which lags behind the stochastic, we see a definite downtrend with the oscillators as we're just kind of creeping down here, ending up with a crossover right there where the fast line is below the slow line. The blue is the %K, the faster oscillator. The red is the %D, the slower oscillator. Combined with that, we've got red bars printing on the histogram as we're dipping down below the zero line. So right now, momentum is headed this direction as per the MACD. So what is going to happen from here? According to this chart, with this stochastic, if we keep this momentum heading down, we're probably going to violate the bottom of this support zone and maybe head towards the 50 EMA. And notice how the 200 EMA magically is entering into support resistance zone number 2 right here. So the first possibility is that we break if we come out of the bottom of this zone. And that's a big if. We don't know what's going to happen yet. But if we creep up and then we fall out of the bottom of the zone, we could look for this 50 EMA at this big volume node sticking out right there at 40,000. Pretty strong one. The next volume node comes in at 39, and then we got this little sucker sticking out right above 36,000, like 36.5, which would put us into the middle resistance support zone. Okay, if we make it down that far, I'm thinking the highest probability right now, because of the upward momentum overall, is that we're going to bounce out of here and head back up to retest the upper support resistance zone. And after we come up here again, if we don't bounce off of it, we're going to blow through it and probably head to 58K. And we might call this the time that the market flips its overall channel. The trading channel will go from a bearish trading channel that we had back here. Here's your bearish channel. And then now we have this bullish channel. It's a definite channel heading upwards here. So we might drop out of that and come right back in it. That's probable. That's probably what is going to happen. but I'm going to have to wait. It's a day-by-day thing to see exactly what could happen. Now, when we flip to the 1 day, it's a little bit different here. So we had this big tear where we closed the record number of candles: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. We had 9 green candles in a row, and I think that's a record. And so then we have at the top, we see where we poked above it and did not close a full 1 day green candle before jumping right back into the zone here. Here we sit on the 1 day. Now, the reason why I think that the slight edge goes towards dropping out of this as resistance is because it's the weekend, and we normally see corrections happen on the weekend. The second bit of evidence is the stochastic. So we had this little double humped camel here. We had a peak, we came back, crossed over again, and now the fast line, the %K, the blue, is looking like it just touched and crossed over the red. If we don't get any higher than this zone here, this little crossover is going to complete and send this stochastic cycle headed in the other direction. The other bit of evidence that we have is just below where we see that on the MACD, if we kind of scrunch this down, on the 1 day, it's a general still upward movement coming from the time that we were bouncing around here within this wedge and we broke out. As this was crawling up, that should have given me an indication, and I didn't pick up on it, that we could continue and then break out once we got to the tip of that triangle. But now, if you will notice, we are printing these little light green bars on the histogram, which means the stochastic or the MACD histogram is peaked and is headed downward. Now, that's not to say it can't reverse direction, because you see many times here, like right here, we're printing dark green to light green, and then it went back to dark, then light, then dark, then light, then went down. So this is not absolute. This could flip and continue to go upwards. But what do we have on the volume profile? The volume profile, if you don't know, is the amount of volume that occurs at a particular price, instead of these bars here that show the volume at a particular time, not according to price. So this means that the most popular trading volume that takes place on exchanges and from the institutional investors is right here. And the point of control price is at 34,000 and change. This is the average price with the highest popularity and the most trading volume. The VPVR usually acts like a gravitational force where it will pull in the price action like a tractor beam, where it pops from one node to the other. So according to this, we have a large peak here, and then we have the point of control price here, which could snatch this down in that direction. That's why the highest probability right now for me is that we run into this middle support resistance zone. If we flip bullish and make it out of here, it's going to be headed towards this other great big node up here at 48. Now, let's scrunch this down and see what's up above 48,000. Here we go. And there is the 58, which I was talking about before, which is also a possibility. This node is bigger here than what we have at the 48. So if we are able to bounce off of this zone and not fall through the floor, we're going to possibly be headed to one of these two nodes, and 58 is in there. I'd say 48 is more likely, and then 58 would be the next possible scenario. So that's what we have. Now, we would have to scrunch further in and get some more price history to see what the nodes are below. Here we go. We bring more into the visible range. Let's bring it right here to the beginning of when the bull market hit and we had this great big long uptrend. And as we see, the old popular zones that pop up on the map here are what we have been talking about previously, which is 27,000 and then just a tick below 20,000 at like 19 and change. Now, there's a possibility we could go down there, but I just don't see that happening. I'm not going to get overly excited about a correction down to that point, even though I'd love to see it. The reason being, I sold off all my popular alts and got rid of them after it was hideously obvious that we were in a slide. This is where I sold most of my positions, and I'm waiting to buy them back. I'm not buying right now because the rule that I abide by is never buy into a run. So while we're in this movement here, I'm not buying anything. I have to wait until this run is over. We have to get a correction at some point. Now, if it does this and then finally corrects, then I'm gonna have to wait until that point. And I'll be sad because I didn't get to jump in and snatch some profits before that point. However, it does look to me like a correction is coming right now. So the least that I'll have to do is wait until this happens. And then it's time to play the DCA game. I'm going to start buying here. All right. Now you do what you want to do. And this is not financial advice. This is just my plan. I plan on starting to DCA there. If we fail the middle zone and go to the bottom zone, I'll buy more right here. If we were to get so lucky that we head down to this lower zone, I would start buying again in here. But like I said, I don't see that happening. But I can't lose if I just stick with my plan. And it's to buy in this entire area here, including all three of these little zones. So that's my target right there. And then once the bull market resumes, we'll probably fly out of this here, here, or here. And then it'll be time to look at where I'm going to exit, because I don't think that when we come out of this, that this will be the straight run up to the all-time peak when Bitcoin probably goes to 100,000. I'm going to say 100,000 is going to be my top point. It could go beyond that, but I don't want to be greedy because I'm in this to make money because the kids need shoes. Okay. So that's what's happening on the 1 day. Now, I do still hold a lot of my research project tokens, and I'll just show you a few of those things that I've loaded up on right now, and then I'm going to show you what's happening with all the other alts that gives me reason to believe that the correction is not over. One is POLX. I'm sitting on 300,000 POLX right now, and it's looking like the 1 day is bottomed out. We're probably going to be rising up from here, and the MACD is coming from a deep, deep down into the dark pits here, heading up towards the zero line, while the histogram has been in the green ever since. So I did load up on that. I'm holding Bolt. I'm holding Swift. I have Top, UBX, SRK, CNS, which is just a fun one. I got $10 of it and it peaked out at 250 bucks. It's a garbage project, but hey, you know, 10 bucks, that's fun money. AOA, I have Shiba, B Pro, which is just doing fantastic. It broke out. I should have bought more of this. I should have DCA'd down at 0.003, but what the heck, I'm in the green because my average price is 0.006 or 7. So I'm in the positive there, and it looks like it's headed on a run. It's got to correct at some point, but I'm glad that I've at least got the little 10,000 that I have. There's Win. It's going to pop out of here at some point. It's doing good. I have TKY, CAT, SHA, the fun one, Elon, Dogelon, which is the stupidest name for a meme project anywhere. But the point that I want to make on these is that on all of these research projects and on the meme ones, you see that where they are lying low like a dog, these are the dog days. This is when I buy right here. And then they wake up and we see this action happening right here where it's starting to wake up and pop up. So I imagine that we're going to get into a zone of action where we start to see the triangulation happening where it shoots up, we correct, shoots up, and we'll go into an uptrend. So that's how I play these. You can learn on the meme coins, and I only invest $5 here, $10 there. And there's some other memes that I'm sitting on right now also, some that are serious, some that are not so serious, that are all practice just to sharpen my skills in the swing trading. Now let's go back to the main hot list here, and I want to show you what a lot of these projects are looking like on the 1 day chart. XRP, we're peaked out. We have a crossover that could happen here, and we could see a correction headed down to this big volume node at 56 cents. If that happens, I buy a lot more. If it doesn't, I'll be satisfied with the little bitty bag that I have. I used to have a big bag of XRP. I got rid of it. I only made a little money, but you got to just keep it moving. Ethereum is on a tear. It's got to correct at some point. And when it does, it'll probably come down to the 50 or maybe the 200. But it looks like we're above 2,000. It's going to stay that way. Litecoin, peaked out, crossover about to happen. Litecoin is underperforming in comparison to ETH and Bitcoin, so I'm probably not going to hold it. I'll keep my money in other projects that are performing a lot better. Mana looking good, primed for a correction. It's at the stochastic peak. And like I always say, look at the previous peaks and see where the price is. Here's a peak, there's a high. Here's a peak, lower high. Here's another peak, another lower high. It's not breaking out yet. It's not time yet. So I'm waiting on it. ICP that I aped in way too early. It's moving up, but I think we're going to have a nice correction, and I might DCA if it gets down to 20 to 30. Filecoin looking good. It's moving up still. I just bought one at 45, and I'm going to wait for the correction. This is going to move up probably towards, say, 60, 65. And when we get the correction, then I'll DCA and get some more. The graph's looking good, moving straight up, but we look like we're going to get a little friction here on the 50. If this comes back down towards the 56 cents or even the point of control at 37, I'm going to get a big bag of that. Link doing very good. It's still moving up, but it might reject when it hits the 200. If it can come back down on my strike zone, I'll pick up my bag of Link that I sold for a profit before. Loom. Why did Loom pop after I sold it? I sold it for a profit at, say, 7, 8 cents, something like that. It's probably going to correct. The stochastic is looking like it's peaked. We have a crossover. Once it comes back down, if we can get to 6 cents again, I'll jump back in. Anchor's looking great. It's breaking out, defying all the odds, and it doesn't want to come out of this oversold or overbought stochastic peak. Waiting on it to come back down so I can jump back in. Maybe 7 cents. I'd be lucky. Pick up 10,000 or so. AMP is correcting. Definite crossover right there. I'm waiting for that to correct, and then I'm jumping back in. I don't know if it'll head back to the strike zone box. I should have got in at 4 cents, and I didn't. But anything that is below the current levels, I think, will be good because I do believe AMP will do well. Matic is sitting at $1. I'm waiting on it. It's still pushing up. We're looking very bullish on the stochastic, but this is not the run. It's got to correct before the next stochastic peak. I'll wait for that, and then we'll go from there. Civic, same thing, about to cross over. I will jump back into Civic. I'd love to see it at 20 cents or below, maybe 15. I'll jump back in because Civic will probably push back towards this previous peak and maybe head up over $1. GNT, we'll see. I made good profit on it, but I need to wait for Coinbase to upgrade this project also with Loom to the new token contract. They haven't done that yet. Algorand looking good. I'll jump back in it at some point. And last but not least, Self-Key. I'm waiting for Self-Key to finish this bullish little peak that is not giving much return for the price action. Notice how we get this huge spike, but where's price going? It's not going up. It looks like resistance, so we may correct. And when it does and gets back to the strike zone box, I'm going to get a big bag and wait to ride that on up. So all eyes are on Bitcoin right now. This crossover is wanting to happen. Let's end it on the 4 hour and just zoom this up, see what it looks like. We're not quite there yet, but we've got another candle that looks like it is forming on the 1 hour, and it's looking red. Second doji in a row. We're at this indecisive point. Oh man, would you just drop out of this and let's get it over with so I can start my buying season? What are your thoughts on Bitcoin? Do you think we're going to reject here and correct back down, or do you think we're going to find support at the bottom of the zone and tear off? I'd love to hear your opinion. None of this is financial advice. And be careful who you listen to on YouTube. People who are in it to try to make a name for themselves because they want to be right at predicting everything. You can't predict this stuff in cryptocurrency. What happens will happen. And it's the institutions and the whales that are going to wreck these charts whenever we think everything is perfectly clear. I'm just calling it like I see it and making decisions based on the events that occur and the technical indicators that pop up on the chart. We can make our best educated guesses, and that's all we can do. We're in it together. Let's see what we can do with this and make some money. This is Carlton Flowers. That's all I got for now. We'll see you next time.